My wife is addicted to the gym, and it's ruining our marriage at 30 years old. My wife has always been active and in shape. She used to work out regularly at a gym during college, but later switched to running outdoors or exercising at home, likely due to her busy schedule. About 18 months ago, she decided to return to the gym. With her current job offering more flexibility, she had the time to commit. Initially, it seemed normal. She'd go a few times a week, but gradually her gym visits became more frequent. She started attending classes on both weekend days, then went daily. Soon, it escalated to morning and evening sessions every single day. If she was stressed, she went to the gym. If life threw a curveball, she headed to the gym. Even after our arguments, her solution was to flee to the gym. She's now 4 months pregnant, and I'm honestly surprised we even found the time to conceive. While I know exercise during pregnancy is generally safe, especially for someone already active, her intensity hasn't decreased at all. If she misses a session, her irritability is off the charts, like a junkie denied their fix. It's unsettling. What was once a healthy habit has become an unhealthy obsession. When I voice my concerns, she gets upset. I've told her I miss spending time with her because she's always at the gym. Her response? The gym is my time. She has a circle of gym friends she seems to prioritize over me. She won't even consider working out together. Saying our gyms are separate spaces, this isn't about insecurity or jealousy. I'm in good shape myself. My job demands it. My concern is that her gym habits are genuinely unhealthy. Overexercising is a real issue. More troubling is how the gym has become her escape from life's problems. Instead of addressing challenges, she works out to get a mood boost and leaves everything unresolved. On top of that, she's so consumed by her gym routine that she neglects other responsibilities. I've taken on most of the chores and cooking because she's rarely available to help. Even people in our lives have noticed. Friends and family have commented on her obsession, some even speculating about infidelity with someone from the gym. While I don't believe she's cheating, the situation doesn't feel normal. She insists everything is fine, but I can't shake the feeling that it's not. February 11th, 2024. Not long ago, I shared my concerns about my wife's gym obsession. It's become a compulsion. She often goes twice a day, and sometimes even 3 times, especially if we've had a fight, and she wants to avoid talking to me. She refuses to join me at my gym and won't let me come to hers. Her gym is her sanctuary, and she's made it clear that it's off limits to me. She's now 18 weeks pregnant, and while I initially didn't suspect infidelity, some comments from others planted seeds of doubt. I decided to check her phone one day when she left it on the kitchen counter, a rare occurrence. I felt ashamed for snooping, but curiosity got the better of me. There was an ongoing text conversation with a guy from her gym, a name she'd mentioned before. At first, I wasn't too concerned. She has a lot of gym friends, and even attended one of their weddings last fall. But as I scrolled, I found explicit messages, including a picture of his genitalia. Furious, I confronted her. She was livid that I'd looked through her phone and insisted it was nothing. But the text told a different story. When I demanded to know if she'd been cheating, she vehemently denied it. Her reaction only made me angrier. I smashed her phone on the ground in a fit of rage. She retaliated by hitting me hard on the back. I left the house and went to my brother's place. Both he and my sister-in-law were shocked by what had happened, though my sister-in-law had often voiced concerns about my wife's gym obsession. When I returned home, my wife was in bed crying. She accused me of abandoning her, claiming she didn't know if I'd come back. Her dramatics didn't move me. Even though she didn't deserve it, I took her phone to get repaired, feeling guilty for breaking it, but she's still acting like the victim, framing me as a monster for smashing her phone. She refuses to admit to anything beyond what I saw in the text. I'm convinced there's more to the story, but she won't come clean. I'm left questioning everything, her fidelity, her priorities, and the future of our marriage. February 12th, 2024, I'm not sure if posting this on my profile will even be seen by anyone, but I don't feel like making another update. In a subreddit yesterday, my wife spent the entire day in bed, trying to get me to feel sorry for her. I ignored her completely and decided to leave the house to attend my family's Super Bowl party. I wasn't really in the mood for a party, but staying home with her was even less appealing. My leaving clearly upset her. She kept texting me things like, "Who just leaves like that? When something like this is happening, who is that cold? And callous that they just leave to go to a party?" Today, she asked me to stay home from work so we could talk. I agreed. She was full of tears and kept saying how sorry she was. She explained that she really was going to the gym twice a day because she enjoyed it. She said it was where her friends were. It made her feel good, and it was fun for her. Then she met a guy there. He started flirting with her, and she admitted she flirted back. According to her, it didn't mean anything at first. She claimed she didn't reciprocate much initially, but eventually found herself enjoying the attention. She said he gave her butterflies, describing it as feeling like she had a crush on someone in school. Their texts began as friendly and non-sexual, continuing this way for several months. However, she admitted she'd feel giddy every time he messaged her. She told him she was married and that nothing could happen between them. But he kept flirting and said, "Sure, we won't cross the line," until they did. One day they kissed. She admitted to enjoying it, but said she felt it was wrong. Clearly, she didn't feel bad enough because she slept with him for the first time that same night. She described it as being like falling in love for the first time. She confessed that all she could think about was him. When I asked if she was in love with him, she said she didn't know. When I asked if the baby was mine, she said she thought so, but couldn't be certain. She mentioned that the guy always used a condom, so she didn't think it was his baby. But she admitted they were sleeping together around the time she got pregnant. She insisted that she loves me, but claimed she couldn't help the spark she felt with him. She doesn't know if she loves him. She doesn't know if the baby is mine. She doesn't know why she did this. And she doesn't know what she thinks we should do. The final blow came when she asked, "You would really leave me if it's not your baby, would you?" She had the audacity to ask that. I told her without hesitation that I absolutely would leave her and that I wouldn't raise another man's child. She seemed genuinely shocked by my response. She asked, "Really? With everything we have and all our history, you wouldn't even consider it?" She can't be serious. I told her there was nothing to consider. She tearfully agreed to a DNA test, as if I was supposed to feel sorry for her. I don't even recognize her anymore. She cried throughout the conversation, but her tears weren't those of someone who was ashamed or remorseful. They were tears of self-pity, meant to make me feel bad for her. Why should I? Because her heart is torn? Relevant comments and additional info. OP. She's ruined my life, but I just feel numb right now. I barely feel anything at the moment. It would have been bad enough for her to have an affair and cheat on me, but she couldn't have stopped. When she found out she was pregnant, at least I could have walked away. If it wasn't for this pregnancy, maybe I still can, but I won't know for sure until I get some test results. She's almost positive the baby is mine. I'm stuck dealing with her forever then. My child will grow up with divorced parents. Their mom will be the gym bike. Maybe she'll even take off to live near her family and take my kid with her. Oh, but then she couldn't be near the guy who gives her butterflies and fucks her in gym changing rooms. The thrill, the excitement, how can I even blame her? She's ruined fatherhood for me, whether this is my kid or not. If by some chance this isn't my baby, and I'm able to completely break free, how will I not think of this one day when I start a family? I was so fucking happy to have this baby with her. I was really excited, even though we hadn't planned for it right now. We have names picked out. I've been there for everything. And now she does this to me. Not only me, but this poor kid, regardless of who their father is. She's saying, "I'll never go back to the gym again. I'll never talk to him again." But she can't say whether she's in love with him or not. What kind of idiot does she think I am? DTI survivors, she still thinks there is hope to save your relationship? Jesus Christ. Oop. Yeah, I believe she still thinks there's a chance I'll agree to raise another man's child with her. She doesn't take me seriously when I say there's no way I'd do that. She is dependent on me. She probably wouldn't leave me if I knocked somebody else up and wanted her to play mommy. I know that sounds terrible, and it's nothing I'd ever do, but I feel like she'd be mad and she'd go screw somebody else to get back at me, but she probably would be too scared to actually leave me. I don't feel the same way about leaving her. I'm sad to leave her. I don't want this to be our reality. I can't even say that I completely hate her yet, but I won't raise another man's child. If she feels so strongly about that guy and he's so wonderful, go get together with him then and leave everyone else alone. The aftermath of betrayal, he was practically on her knees yesterday, pleading, "I won't go back to the gym. I won't ever contact him again." But that doesn't align with the fact that she can't even say whether she's in love with him or not. Her feelings for him are clearly still strong, likely fueled more by lust than by her heart. Either way, it doesn't matter to me. Despite her feelings for him, I think she's dependent on me in some way for stability, maybe, or simply out of comfort. We've been together since she was 20 years old, so I'm this familiar constant in her life. Out here, she has her gym friends, but no family or close connections. While she earns a good salary, I make more and all our benefits come through me. Even with her income, living as a single mom in this area would be difficult, especially at the standard of living she's accustomed to. February 13th, 2024 today. She cried all night about how she's ruined her life. It seemed like reality was finally hitting her, but I paid her no attention. I just pretended she wasn't there. At one point, I asked her if she would get her blood drawn for a paternity test. I begged her not to keep me in limbo for months. She said she didn't want to. On meeting the lawyer and the affair partner, AP, I'm meeting with a lawyer next week to figure out my options. As for the AP, I've met him once. Last summer, he called her late at night because he was drunk at a bar and couldn't drive home. She planned to pick him up, but I didn't think it was appropriate for her to go alone. So I went with her. She's always paraded me around as her husband, but I was never allowed to go to her gym. The only gym acquaintances I've met are an older married couple. I want her out of the house, but I don't want her flying back home to her parents just yet. If this is my child, having her give birth here would put me in a much better legal position. If she moves back to her hometown, the baby could be considered a resident there, complicating custody. She missed a few days of work, but she's gone back since everything happened. This morning she had a meltdown. Before I left for work, later she told me that when she arrived at her job, her coworkers were making her food and tea. Obviously, she hasn't told them the truth about what's going on. The length of the affair, she claims, they've been sleeping together since last summer. That's just what she says. Of course. February 22, 2024, my wife is moving in with her affair partner. My life feels like a trashy daytime talk show. The woman I once considered classy has turned into complete trailer trash. Today, she announced she's moving in with her affair partner from the gym. She's pregnant, might be his baby, might be mine. She's too embarrassed to go get her blood drawn for a paternity test. For about a week, she tried everything to get my attention. She wanted me to talk to her, to beg her to stay with me. I didn't fall for it. I've been ignoring her as much as possible. When we do have to speak, I keep it brief. We've been living under the same roof, but I moved into a different room and have separated my life from hers entirely. When her attempts to get me to notice her failed, she texted me today to say she's moving in with him. Somehow, I still care about her. I've already met with a lawyer, though. I can care about her as a human being and the possible mother of my child without being married to her. Still, it stung. When she said she was leaving to be with him, I told her it wasn't a smart move to leave the house. I even suggested she consult a lawyer. She doesn't care about anything I say. I asked if he knows she's pregnant and what she's told him about the situation. She said he knows and doesn't care if it's my baby he loves her and wants to be with her. It's baffling. He's a single, good-looking man with a steady job and his own home. Why would he choose my married, pregnant wife? Of all people, it doesn't make sense. Why take on this kind of baggage when he could have other options? If this baby is mine, what happens then? They'll live with my wife and this guy 50% of the time. I don't know how my life became this mess. And yet she thinks it's embarrassing to get blood drawn for a paternity test. February 29th, 2024, my wife has agreed to a paternity test. My wife moved in with her affair partner last weekend. She didn't take much with her. Most of her belongings are still in our house. I still get the feeling she was waiting for me to beg her to come back, but I haven't reached out to her at all since she left. It was a strange combination of relief, anger, and sadness. I don't think I ate at all until last night. I just didn't feel hungry. I drank a little too much, but I'm fine. I'm sharing this update because I've received countless messages, and responding to each one has been emotionally draining. Typing out the same details repeatedly has become exhausting. And honestly, I just don't want to talk about her anymore. This morning, she texted me to say her affair partner, AP, wants a DNA test, so she's gonna do it. Funny how it didn't matter when I wanted one, but now that he's requested it, she suddenly thinks it's a great idea. She even asked if I wanted to submit a sample because it would be cheaper to test two potential fathers in one package. At this point, I don't care about the cost. I just want an answer. I won't have to see or interact with them at all. I only need to make my own appointment with the lab and get my cheek swabbed. I'm scheduled for this Saturday, and we should have the results within a week. I'll take what I can get. It's better than enduring another 20 weeks of uncertainty. For now, I'm managing. I go to work every day and try to function, but I feel stuck in limbo. I miss her. I hate that she's with him. It makes me sick. A part of me wants to beg her to come home. If I find out the baby is mine and she's still with him, it'll hurt even more. Unless he decides to leave her after learning the truth. Still, I won't let myself beg. I won't play her games. March 8th, 2024, the paternity test results. This morning at 11 I got the results. I'm the father. The news left me feeling incredibly conflicted. Commenti, have you gotten the paternity test results? At 11:10 this morning, I got the news that I'm the father. I feel incredibly conflicted right now. The commenter, is she asking to come back home? Or is she still planning on staying with the other guy? Regardless, this is a rough situation. I'm sorry for you, bro. We haven't talked. Commenter, understandable, but I think you should try to set up a meeting with her somewhere public to discuss the pregnancy and the future. Whether or not your marriage is ending, the child will still be a big part of your lives. Also, you mentioned before that your wife listens to her AP, so now that the baby isn't his, I'd worry about him pressuring her to get an abortion. You really need to talk to her about your unborn child. We definitely need to talk. But I got the news in the middle of a work day and wasn't in the mood for a full-blown conversation. I need time to wrap my head around this reality before saying too much to her. As March 15th, 2024, an update on my wife's Ghetto-C affair and pregnancy. My wife has been having an affair with a man she met at the gym for nearly a year. She's about 22 weeks pregnant now. When I discovered her infidelity, she was around 17 weeks. She insisted she was certain I was the father, but refused to get a paternity test to ease my mind. Recently, at her AP's request, we did a paternity test, and it confirmed that I am the father. The emotions have been overwhelming, up and down. At first, I thought I wanted nothing more. Then, to sever all ties with her, I didn't want a lifelong connection to her, through a child. But when the results came back, I felt a mix of relief and happiness. I'd already been mentally preparing to become a father for months before I discovered her betrayal. Still, there are moments when I can't believe this is my life, that my child will be born into this situation. I hate her for it. She's still living with him. Most of her belongings remain in our house. I refuse to pack her things for her, and she doesn't seem to care about taking anything beyond the essentials. After learning I'm the baby's father, she texted me to say she's glad and that she knows I'll be a great dad. She even started texting me new baby name ideas last night. She's tried calling, but I've ignored her calls. I only communicate with her via text. This morning she asked if she could come by to pick up a few things. I told her it was fine. I've been advised by my lawyer not to prevent her from entering the house. However, I made it clear that he better not accompany her, the unwelcome visitor. So who shows up with her? The scumbag boyfriend. He walks right into the house behind her, as if it's no big deal. She ran upstairs to grab what she needed, leaving him and me standing in the living room. He immediately starts talking, claiming it wasn't her fault he came. According to him, she told him I didn't want him there, but he forced his way along because he wanted to talk to me. He said he wanted to let me know that he understands how I must be feeling. No, he doesn't. He told me he knew I probably wouldn't believe him, but he genuinely loves her and knew all along he probably wasn't the father. He accepts it, he says, and then tries to assure me he won't try to take my place with the baby. He even had the audacity to say he hopes we can get along since we're both going to be in her life. Then he promised me she's fine and that he's looking after her. I told him I couldn't for the life of me understand why he'd want to be with a pregnant woman, carrying another man's child, that it was downright weird. I told him to get out of my house or I'd punch him. At confrontation upstairs, I went upstairs and found her in the bathroom, rummaging through some things. I was livid. I asked her why she brought him and told her I found it incredibly strange that he still wanted to be with her now that he knows the baby isn't his. I made it clear that I wouldn't let him have anything to do with my child. She apologized, saying he talked her into coming and that she never meant for any of this to happen. But then she added that she's in love with him now Apparently, he's what 30-year-old her is looking for, not me. She explained that she's setting up a nursery in his house and suggested I do the same in mine. She reassured me she has no intention of trying to get full custody and doesn't want to keep me from being involved in my child's life. How generous of her. On the punch, we went back downstairs, and there he was, still standing in my living room. I walked straight up to him and punched him. He stumbled back, crashing into a table. She screamed, "What the fuck?" and ran to him, but I didn't care. If he calls the cops, so be it. He deserved it, and it wouldn't have happened if he just left when I told him to. In the aftermath hours later, she texted me to apologize for the day's events. She insisted he meant what he said, claiming he's actually a good guy who cares about her and respects me. Respects me? This is the same man who was screwing my wife in a gym locker room. I told her she couldn't be serious. She snapped back, saying, "Fine, I'm trying to have a mature conversation about this. I can't help that we fell in love. Believe it or not, I'm not trying to hurt you. I want everything to be amicable." Amicable. The man stole my wife and is now trying to steal my child. Sure, I'm the biological father, but they're setting up a nursery together in his house. I've tried not to feel jealous or sad. I tell myself he's just the trash man who picked up my garbage. Sometimes I even believe it, but the truth is, I loved her and still do. I know staying married to her is out of the question, but this entire situation is devastating. April 10, 2024, new drama unfolds. My wife is now about 26 weeks pregnant. Surprisingly, there hasn't been much drama with her or her AP lately. I took a long weekend trip last week, which was a much-needed escape. The only annoying development is about the delivery room. I told her I would be there, not him. After everything she's done, she owes me that. It's my baby, not his. He has no right or reason to be there. At first, she agreed. She said she never planned to have him in the room. But when I asked if she told him that, she admitted she hadn't. I told her to let him know he wouldn't be involved. She did, and apparently, he didn't take it well. He started convincing her why he should be there. Next thing I know, she's telling me it's her birth and she should get to decide who's there. She now wants him in the delivery room. What's next? Him picking the baby's name and overruling the names we'd chosen years ago? Divorce discussions, we've talked a little about the divorce. She said I could keep the house and the dog, but I'm requesting we sell the house and split the profit. I've already included that in the paperwork. I'm not buying her out of the house I paid for. I'd rather start fresh somewhere new without reminders of her. As for the dog, there was no way she was getting him. I already had proof of ownership, and he's the one thing I told my lawyer I wouldn't compromise on. Her AP can have her, but he'll never have my dog. I'm preparing for fatherhood, even though I plan to move after the baby is born. I'm still setting up a nursery in my house. I don't want anyone accusing me of not being prepared or invested in fatherhood. It's a bittersweet experience. I get to design it how I want without worrying about her opinions, but it's lonely. We've lived together for most of our adult lives, and while I enjoy the solitude, it can feel isolating. On a positive note, I got a promotion at work. It's not ideal timing with the divorce, but I'll take it. The little wins. Admittedly, I spy on them on social media sometimes. I keep hoping to see that he's had a motorcycle accident or something. No luck yet. I did learn he's starting a new company, so once it's up and running, I might get my friends and family to leave 1-star reviews everywhere. Small victories. Her secret misery. Her sister reached out to me recently. She said my wife is secretly unhappy. Apparently, her AP is selfish in bed, doesn't do little things like clearing snow off her car, and doesn't speak her love language. Hearing that she's miserable made me ridiculously happy.